Hey everyone, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. There is a wedding going on this weekend. Two of my good friends are getting married. Nick is a groomsman, and we have a cake topper for it. So this video, I'm going to show you how I set up this file to cut on the Glowforge. This is using clear acrylic, gold mirror acrylic from Cerulean Tides, and 3M. I also used cardboard as a guide to place my items. So I go over how to do all of this, how to bring it all in the same file but multiple cuts, and how I apply this. So if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you're thinking about getting a Glowforge, check out the link below. You can save up to $500 on a new machine. Alright friends, I am in Silhouette Studio. We are setting up this cake topper. So I'm bringing you in the majority of the process done, the majority of the way in. The reason why is what I have done so far is I've literally just chosen fonts and set them up. And so I sent this over to the customer to see which one they wanted. They chose this top left. So I'm going to just go ahead and delete these. I do not need them. And so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to resize this entire topper. So I'm going to hit Control G real quick. I am going to do a few more adjustments to that. And then up in the top, the quick access toolbar is our resize option. Going to check that to keep the ratio locked. And we're going to do this 3.5 inches wide. The top of the cake is a 4-inch cake. All right, so this is where it gets kind of tricky. The text in here, I'm just ungrouping, is pretty thin, you know? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I have this welded. So just weld. And then I'm just going to go right click, group, or make compound path. Either one works. So this is really small. This is about 3 inches wide. So whenever I have a font like this, it's really beautiful and elegant, but it can be very thin. So the way to fix that is, one, don't use a font that small. But you know, this is the same font that I did for a bridal shower gift for this couple, so we're just gonna go ahead and go for it. So two, what we can do is do a very slight offset that will thicken the entire design to give us a better chance of it working. So let's go over here. Let's do offset. That was over here on the right. It looks like a star. Choose offset again. And then you can see that this first offset is way too big. We are not going to do that. We're going really small. We're going to type 0.01, enter. You can say it makes this really tiny line around it. So hit apply. And so remember, whenever you create an offset within Silhouette Studio, once you hit apply, the item that is selected right now is your offset. So because it didn't have some lines overlapping, you can see they're separate objects. So I'm going to very quickly hit Control G to group this together. And I'm going to go over to the top left here and I'm going to fill it in so you can see what has happened. So I'll click and move that. So see, just a little bit thicker. And the thing is too, if you're someone who designs in Silhouette Studio, this may look bulky and thicker, but it's not going to be noticeable when you create the topper. So you want this to give your item a little bit more insurance, because don't forget, people who see this are not going to have a comparison of your original item. So just go with it. And let me go over here and turn off my line color, because sometimes that can make it look a little bit off too. Alright, so this is our topper. It's going to be 3 inches. So the next thing I need to do is I just need to make this stick. So I have been doing a rectangle. I'm clicking and dragging. And so for this, I am actually going to turn off my aspect ratio, because I want to specifically designate the dimensions for each part of it. So uncheck. I want this to be 1/8 of an inch, so 0.125. And then we're going to make this stick about 4 inches deep. So I work with a local baker in town, one of my good friends, and so we have found that making the sticks 4 inches has just worked out really well for what we're doing. All right, so I'm going to grab the circle, grab my new stick, go to my align tools up here, and center align it. So now I have my stick right in the middle. You can see it's overlapping a little bit. It's not going to be an exact 4 inches. I think she will forgive me. So we're going to grab both of these right here and weld. Cool. So now the base of our design is done. The next thing we need to do is we need to set up our file to be the most efficient when we go to cut our items. So I'm going to be cutting clear acrylic for the base, gold mirror acrylic for the words, and then I'm going to be cutting a cardboard template to help me line up my words and to keep it safe. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my rectangle around my entire design. And there we go. Alright, so now the way that different functions come into Glowforge is that it reads it as different line colors. So we want each function or each cut, so each piece of acrylic or cardboard, to have a different line color. So we're set with this red here, and then we have this like black for the clear acrylic. So now we can just go over here, grab our words, and let's change it to a definitely different color. Let's do green. Again, this is not how it will look. This is so we can designate each one as a separate cut. So now we're all set to go. We are going to export this. Don't forget, you do need Business Edition to export as an SVG. You can grab it using the link in my bio, or not my bio, I'm sorry, my description. So what we're gonna do is we don't wanna bring in all this other junk in here. So we're gonna select this, like that, go to File, Save Selection, and save it to hard drive. So we're gonna set it up like that. I'm gonna choose a file on there, and then I will see you in just a minute in my Glowforge software. So you can see that I have my material in here already. I am doing the gold acrylic first. We are using gold mirror acrylic from Cerulean Tides. My clear is also from Cerulean Tides. Don't forget, you can use code POTSPERFECT10 to save 10% off orders over 100. And so this is my gold mirror that's in my machine right now. So it looks gray. Your eyes are not deceiving you. This is the back of our acrylic. When you cut gold mirror, you do want to cut it on the back side, and you do want to have it masked at least on the back side. I like to mask it on both sides. But you'll notice I have 3M on here, and I'm doing that to make it easier to apply. So in lieu of the masking on the backside for a normal cut, I just did 3M. So we can see I have little squares because I tested my settings before I started. I always do a tiny test because I get very nervous. You can see here are my 3 cuts. So the first thing I'm going to do is that's my square for the cardboard. We're going to ignore it. We're going to ignore this again as well. And then we're going to go right here and we are going to cut. And we are going to do a 3M cut. This is one that I programmed myself. It's just a little bit slower than the proof grade cut of 160. I have this at a speed of 155 in full power. I decreased my speed, which makes the power stronger because I have that layer of 3M there. And then you can see right here, I'm using a proof grade setting. I'm using medium blue acrylic. And so now we're ready to do our first cut. Now you'll notice the parts that I'm ignoring are with a dotted red line. They will not cut right now, so I don't have to worry about them overlapping. So I'm going to set up my text, and I'm going to cut it right in the bottom here. Now if you want to save material, you could break this apart and turn it, but at this point what I'm more concerned about is making sure it cuts well and keeping this lined up for my assembly later. And I almost forgot the most important step. Because I am cutting this on the back side of my gold mirror acrylic, I need to mirror it or flip it. So you could either upload this, like you could either mirror it in Silhouette Studio and upload it into Glowforge if you don't have premium. I use premium, so I'm just gonna go right here and flip horizontally. So now we have it all set right there. So I'm gonna pop over to my machine. Let's go ahead and hit print. This should take a couple minutes to cut. It does have a lot of loops, but it isn't a big design, so it shouldn't take too long. So we're gonna go through, you're gonna check out a cool time lapse of this cutting, and then I'll see you in just a minute as I set up the remainder of my cuts. Alright, so we have our next piece of acrylic in. I'm going to switch my settings to medium clear acrylic. I don't know if it actually changes anything, but that's what I'm doing. Alright, so let's bring in our design. I'm holding down shift while turning. This helps me rotate in 45-degree increments. And so now we are going to ignore the text and we are going to cut the circle, the base of the topper. So we'll just do cut, and we can do a basic proof grade cut. I think the settings are at 170 in full. Right, so we're just doing this right here. So let's go ahead and print, and I'll see you again for the last part. Okie dokie, friends, I've just put in some cardboard. So here it is right here. So we are going to go through and set focus on this one because I'm not using a set proof grade setting. And we're going to see if this fits. I'm not entirely sure if this design will fit in there, but we're going to see because I had a scrap piece right there that I want to use. So it's focusing and it's going to readjust in just a minute. Oh yeah, it's real close. So I'm going to bump this up because, you know, I like to live on the edge. Right, so it almost all fits in there. I need to move this up a tiny bit. Checking the corners. Wow, okay. So now we're going to cut. I have a setting in here that I've programmed called cardboard. There it is. So I'm doing speed at 180 with 90 power. And we're literally going to cut each section because one will be the guide, the other will be the little guide to help place my letters. Now, you could flip it back, but since I'm cutting all the way through, I'm not going to. So let's go ahead, print. And again, I'll see you soon. So this is the last part in the software. The rest of it is going to be assembly and production. All right, I've got all the pieces here. Here is the outside base. Here is my little letter guide. And here is my topper. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the masking off of this top side. This is what my words are gonna go on. So we're just gonna grab it like this. It's gonna look brown because there's masking on the back side too. We keep it on to keep it safe until we're ready. All right, so we have this right here. So now I'm just literally gonna pop this right on here so I can line it up. It's not gonna fall into place because I have my acrylic on top, but this helps me figure out where to put that. So now we're just going to very, very gently take off the 3M. This acrylic is super, super delicate. So we're gonna take the backing off slowly and gently so that we're not breaking it, because I really don't want to recut this. All right, so I'm leaving the masking on while I place this. So we're gonna take it and pop it right into this opening where the cardboard is. Now there are a bunch of different methods people use to place this. So people ask me, Lisa, is this the best way? Honestly, I don't know. This is the way that works for me. If you have been watching me for a while, you'll know that I just want to get it done. And I want to be functional. And, you know, all of us have different ways of doing things, or, you know, ways that we approach it. So whatever works for you and still gives you a good product and isn't, you know, dangerous, like don't put something in your Glowforge that actually can't be lasered, obviously, then do it. So I like doing it this way. I like to use my hands to peel my 3M. Some people hate it. They like to use tweezers. Whatever works for you. Really not a big deal. So we have our name here. I have a little tiny piece of the L stuck in there. So I'm going to use my weeding tool for vinyl. I'm just going to gently poke it out. So this is something that you should catch earlier because it kind of fuses together. Like when it's hot from being cut, it can kind of stick back in. So I need to be very gentle popping this little piece out. All right, so we have that done. This is the end of the name. And now we have the N. So I do have the dots to the I. I'm gonna leave them off for now because they're very, very small. They're very difficult. If you run into this issue, I also would recommend actually making your eyes bigger than how they are in the font. It just makes it easier to cut in place. But that's up to you. All right, so I gotta be careful with this. I think there's a piece of cardboard stuck on the side. Nope, that's just me being dumb. All right, so we have that on there. So while I have it, I'm just gonna go ahead and gently take my weeding tool and push off this masking. So I'm gonna find a thick part of it and peel up. So I don't know if you can tell right now, but it looks kind of off still. That's because I kept the clear plastic masking on this too. Probably shouldn't have. But I need to, oh, it's not on there. Just kidding. All right, so let's take it off the and. And then let's finish it up. Let's bring it home. So I forgot to take off the clear mask, the clear coating that's on the mirror. If you buy the mirrored acrylic, take it off before you mask it. It can be a pain, but you know, it is what it is. All right, so we're gonna take that out of here. Gently take this guide out. And this is using 3M 467. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to clamp it or put a weight on it so it stays. So I did have a piece of cardboard kind of stuck. There you go. So this end came out no big deal. I can kind of see where it was touching. Right. So we have that right there. And now for the full effect, I'm gently touching it because I do need to put a weight on this so it stays. We're going to peel off the masking on the back. This is the hardest part, I always say. Check it out. I'm really excited, looks really cute. Okay guys, here is our finished topper. So this is using clear acrylic and gold mirror acrylic from Cerulean Tides. It's going to have some smudges on it because I'm handling it. So this is, I designed it in Silhouette Studio and cut it with Glowforge. I'm really excited. The wedding is this weekend. I can't wait to see it on the topper, on the cake. This is the topper. And I will take some pictures and share with you guys. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps my channel. And if you're thinking about getting a new Glowforge machine, you can check out the link below and save up to $500 on a new machine.